Well, for me, growing up in the 1950s and 60s, our family had religion. It was a different time in the church, and for me, it wasn't a good experience. I always felt guilty when I was in church. You know, it appeared that you sort of had to work your way in, and only really the saints got into heaven, and trust me, I was no saint, so I kind of went my own way. In high school and after high school, I turned my back on the church and God, and it wasn't relevant in my life, so why should I have it? Why should I need it? And during this time, the Vietnam War was really heating up. I think about every red-blooded male was being drafted, and I enlisted in the Navy. I figured I'd be nice and safe on a boat, nice and dry, so I enlisted in the Navy. When our year come to an end, we headed back to the States, and it takes about a week. During that week, I had just this prompting, this voice in my head that I needed to go back. Before the ship even made port in Long Beach, I signed to go back to Vietnam. I was assigned to Task Force 117 Riverine Force in Dong Tam, Vietnam. On the base, in Dong Tam, our barracks was a barge moored to a pier, and about 75 yards to the north of us were two steel Quonset buildings. They were filled with all of the munitions and explosives and so forth. On a regular basis, the Viet Cong would lob mortars at us out of the jungle everywhere on the base just to harass them and hope that they would hit something. So life went on for a number of months like that. That all ended, however, on January 31st, 1968, early morning around 3 a.m., an offensive started in South Vietnam, and the North Viet Cong attacked all the U.S. bases at the same time. They had a heavy mortar attack, and eventually they did hit it and set it off. I jumped off the barge. I'm sprinting as fast as I can inland, away from the explosions. As I'm running, I can see all this, my life just kind of flashed before my eyes. And I saw the gates of hell opening up before me. I could see it, taste it, and smell it. I was going to fall in. And from somewhere, it had been from the very depth of my soul, I cried out to God. I said, "Oh God, save me. I'm too young to die. I'm not here in the dirt, on the other side of the world from my family. I'll quit smoking, drinking, swearing. I'll even go to church." It's been 46 years since that event. There's hardly a day goes by I don't think about that. I was a split second away from not being here. But you know, God was there that night. He was waiting for me. And as clearly as I'm speaking to you now, build my church. That's what his response was. Since that night that God met me during that firefight, I've gone to Bible college and a Sunday school teacher, elder, janitor. With all these things that I've been doing, I still didn't feel I was doing enough to live up with my part of the covenant that I made with God that night. It's been 19 years since we arrived at Westwood, and through the spirit-filled preaching of our pastoral staff and others in the church, I've come to realize that it's what God is doing and has done for me, and not about what I'm doing for Him. All the pressure, works that I did for years trying to live up to my part of that covenant isn't there anymore. It's like a huge weight off my shoulders. What happened in Vietnam was a life changer for me. truly was. But even through this now and sharing it, God's grace is just amazing. So now I get to feel a joy in the grace and the love of being in the church, going to church, and serving in the church. Because it's joyful to be there and to do that.